Hello again, friends. It's time for the first installment of Interesting Rulings, because I didn't really have a good inspired name for that. The first ruling is an interaction between Begone and any kind of superior calling. Because Begone is, well, just because Bushiroad said so, any card that triggers an effect that calls a monster to the field cannot be targeted by Begone. I'm honestly not certain why this is, but that's just how Bushiroad made it. Other cool things to know about Begone are that when you summon a creature, and that creature is placed on top of another creature, like a Jackknifed creature, it and all of its soul does indeed go to the drop zone. Moving on, we have Jackknife Jaeger and his interaction with Nightmare Despair. All on-attack abilities of creatures retain their orientation of owner to opponent, even if something else is causing it to attack on the opponent's side, and even if it's attacking a target on your own field. So if Nightmare Despair is played against Jackknife Dragon, what will end up happening is you can still use his on-attack ability and discard a card and still deal 2 damage to your opponent. Other cool cards that have that kind of interaction against Nightmare Despair, not that the card needed to be any worse, would be cards like Blue Sky Knight's Drum. Gain a life when it attacks. Well, it's attacking, so you'll gain the life before you take the damage from the attack from Drum. So if you just had a white Dragon Shield, that would negate all 3 of that damage, essentially. Rounding out the video, I have the damage reduction capabilities of Dragon Equipment Drago Keeper. It says all non-combat damage dealt to you is reduced by 1. Naturally, cards like Punisher wouldn't be reduced because they say the damage can't be reduced. However, in this particular example, Adric's particular ping for 1, the Penetrate of Ochre Glosser, and the Penetrate of Ochre Glosser all ended up dealing 0 damage because Penetrate is dealt in separate packages of damage. So I took 1, which became 0, I took 1, which became 0, I took 1, which became 0, and then my creature was destroyed. Gaddister has a lifelink of 1, and he negated his own lifelink because of Drago Keeper, reducing that because lifelink is damage too. Fun facts about Drago Keeper, other than the fact that it just essentially nullifies all burn damage, it really does shut down the effects of Spectral Strike, Penetrate, any kind of reasonable burn that can be negated or reduced, and all of that's just for 1 gauge. I really, really have a hard-on for this card. I really do. I like it a lot, especially since it's a 6k weapon, and you can just keep swinging it at, side units, just bop them, clear the field, and then have your more prominent creatures with the higher criticals deal damage to your opponents. Did I mention I have a boner for Drago Keeper? I really like Drago Keeper. That finishes up the first installment of Interesting Rulings. I hope they were interesting. Maybe.